I'm gonna have to say it again. Okay. So today's class, as promised, is going to be a fascia and lymphatic system stimulation and release class. So I wanted to put this up here again. I think this is one I've showed you in the past about the lymphatic system. But I would like you to notice is the biggest gathering points of the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system moves fluid, and once it moves the fluid, it gets back into circulation, and then the toxins go to the kidneys and you discharge it, right? You pee. So when there is a cluster in your lymph nodes and it gets swollen, you can imagine they get hard and get little nodules if you've ever had a sore throat. You can even feel them sometimes. So if you will start at the bottom, there's a lot of them behind the knees. And if you keep going up into the groin, you can see it to the left and to the right in the inguinal lymph nodes. And then you can look right above the groin. There's another spot right below the spleen. It's like the thoracic spine where another cluster of them are. And then if you keep going to the, let's go to the armpits, right? You can see the big clusters under each armpit, but the left armpit is, of course, actually I don't want to even say of course, because it's hard to depict here, but the left armpit has a cluster for the whole body, except for the right arm and right chest. And then if you go into the neck, and then the back of the neck, you can see those green lines. So all the green represents lymph. There are more clusters, and they go up and around your scalp, and that's why your neck, when it gets tight, it feels really darn sore. And your thymus gland, if you see that one, it's kind of like in the throat area. Your thymus isn't as active after you become a teenager, but it is a huge gland for helping to move lymph and removing toxins. So we're going to hit a majority of these. The other really cool thing is that the lymphatic system is right under the skin along with the fascia. So it's a double whammy. So we're really going to get a nice release for the whole body. Some of it will be uncomfortable, but at the end of this class, you should feel very relaxed and very worthy of being able to even take a nap if you wanted to. So good stuff. So we're going to start seated as you all are. I'm going to stop the share so you all can see me. And I want to just go through some deep diaphragmatic breaths. So just comfortably sit. You can be on a block or your blanket. And I put my hair up on purpose because when we get to the wall, you're going to need a wall in a second. I don't want you to pull your hair out. Heads up, Phoenix. Deb, you're safe. Jess, she'll have to figure that out on her own. All right, so go ahead and sit however you want. Put your hands on your lower abdomen. And just close your eyes if you're comfortable with that. And just invite yourself into your body. Invite yourself to diving into learning about the body at a deeper level. Begin to breathe in deeply through your nose and out through your mouth. That's okay. But I'd like you to feel the stomach pushing up against the hands as you inhale and out as you exhale. And just invite the breath in. Deep diaphragmatic breath is a major way in which the body can move lymph. The only way you can move lymph is through deep breath and movement. So let's say you've been sitting down at a desk for a very long time doing work or still. Just simply bringing in 12 mindful diaphragmatic breaths, and that's not a number out in science, that's a number I'm giving you. 12 breaths will help to move that lymph around so that you don't feel swollen or you don't get lethargic in your body. So let's go for that 12 mindful breaths here. You've probably done 5, so let's keep going from there. And just making a connection now with that diaphragmatic breath, healing the body. The lymph nodes carry white blood cells, so imagine it just carrying and resending out the white blood cells wherever the body is needing it. And then anything that needs to be removed is being moved through the circulatory system into the kidneys and flushing outward. Just kind of imagine all of this happening because your body wants to heal. Your body wants to be completely healthy. And just setting yourself up for a landscape of healing today, of release, of calming, and accepting the body with all that it does kind of in this little miracle worker that it is. Take a final inhale, deep diaphragmatic breath again. And exhale. Good, and then go ahead and open your eyes and come all the way up to standing with one of your tennis balls. So we're gonna start standing and we're gonna come down to the ground eventually. So grab one of your tennis balls and just come into Tadasana. So just closing your eyes, be really relaxed here, soften through the knees. And just notice underneath the right foot, just notice how it feels, how the arch is lifted or unlifted or flat, how the left foot feels, if it's lifted or flat. Just notice the sensory feedback you get in between the postures of the release are just as important as the actual releases themselves. So we'll get that feedback, take a deep diaphragmatic breath again, and soften the body, relax. Good, then go ahead and grab your tennis ball and place it underneath the right middle of your foot, right underneath it. So a tennis ball is a very nice place to start because it's softer. If you have a higher intensity ball, like a lacrosse ball or myofascial ball, that would work too. But in the middle of your foot, I just want you to squish it. And I'm not telling you to put the heel down or the toe down, just do what's natural, just squish the ball. But don't lock your knees. Just kind of move it around a little bit into the meat of the middle of the foot. So the bottom of the foot is a huge place in which kind of goes all the way up through the body and into many of the organs, according to Chinese medicine. So the feet, spending some time with the feet, I think is really important just to find yourself arriving into the practice, the foundation of the practice. Okay, and then I'd like you to roll the ball right above the heel of your foot and then put the heel of the foot down and just push right there. There might be a little swollen spot to the left, a little bit towards midline, or maybe to the right, depending on your body type. And just kind of pump it. Pump it like literally like a pump, pumping your lymph fluids, kind of moving them up towards the heart. When you move lymph and fascia, it's always in the direction of the heart. And we'll get into that a little bit further into the class. So just feel that happening. And then I want you to go ahead and lift up the heel. Go right into the middle of the heel, put the right toes down. And then again, pump the foot. Press into the ball. And it's really hard to feel sensation in the heel because it is a very hardened muscle. So this is the only place you'd want to work something like a golf ball on the body, the only place. Otherwise, it's way too intense. So just kind of feel around. It may not be so bad. Good. And then I want you to just simply roll the ball to the front ball of your foot, very front over the middle, and curl your toes down and keep the heel down and press there. So each time you curl the toes down, you're reaching the big toe down to the floor as you're just pumping there along that right ball of your foot. Good. Okay, and then I want you to just, seamlessly roll around, all around the right foot. See if there's, oh, don't lose your balance. Maybe getting into the arch, just finding any tender spots, making little circles, big circles, up and down, whatever feels good. And then I want you to find a tender spot and stick with it. We're all losing our balls over here. Good, and just find, so for me it's the inside, so with the inside I have kind of a flat arch, so I'm encouraging that arch to lift. Rehydrating the foot is really what we're doing, especially the bottom of the foot. So think of, I hate to say this, but you all know it, you're women on here with me, but if you've ever been a mom and you've had milk in your breasts and that swollen duct, that how it gets really hard, that fluid is stuck, it's kind of like that through the body. Okay, and then roll around again, massage it out, see if there's any last spots you want to pulse out a little bit. And then go ahead and remove the ball and just step into Tadasana again. Close your eyes. Okay, I want you to really take the moments that we pause and in these in-between resets to feel the difference. Maybe the right bottom of your foot feels lighter. Maybe you send a tingling sensation up the right leg. Maybe the right leg feels longer. Just feel the difference already. And it should be pretty darn evident. So if not, it might be still a whisper, It may not be screaming at you, but the whispers are very indicative of being a yogi because we don't wait until the body is completely out of whack. We're able to tune in. So I think for this posture, you all feel it pretty quickly. So now let's go to the other side and match it up. So going into the middle of the left foot, were you all able to feel the difference so quickly? Thumbs up if you were. Yeah, good, good. Okay. Middle of the foot and just pump it. Pump that lymph fluid. Really, it's the fascia as well. So anytime you talk about stimulating the fascia, you're also stimulating the lymph. And again, the only way to do it is breathing and movement, but movement in a particular way. So fascia kind of goes all different ways. It's not just up and down. It's, you know, this motion, it's up, down, it's zigzag. This is why yoga is really the only lineage that addresses the fascia because it goes through all directions. And then go ahead and move that ball closer right above the heel and do the same pressing. And we're taking the time in our feet so we really get that feedback we need as we move on through the rest of the body. We may have to break this class into two because there's a lot I'd like to get through, but we'll do the best that we can. And then going right into the heel of the left foot now, pumping, the toes are on the floor now. Moving around if you need to, left and right. And again, it doesn't feel like you're doing much until you come off of the ball and you're like, wow. And each spot, if you were doing this on your own, is just a minimum of 30 seconds. You don't need more than that. It's pretty quick. It just needs a little bit of attention. Good. Okay, and then we're going to go up into the ball of your foot. So top here, and the heel is down this time. Just pump it out. And you may even notice that the right foot maybe was a little bit more tender than the left, or maybe the left is more tender, and that might be your dominant leg where you bear more weight. So those the feet, the bottom of the sole is a little more calcified, right? So start to notice these little whispering facts about your body or noticings, right, about the body. This is what makes you in tune to yourself. The body wants you to hear these things so that it doesn't have to get to a point of discomfort. Good, and then keep going. And then roll out your left foot all over, make little circles, looking for that achy spot. And there's generally a tendon that pops out right underneath the ball of the toe. That's a little achy. So really get into that one, roll it out, left, right, up, down, zigzag. You can't do it wrong with this. Just find your way. And then stay at that tender spot for a second. Maybe take a few deep breaths here. So not only are you into this deep breath, you're also bringing the movement, the pumping of the limbs. So you're really getting in there and doing the deep work that it needs to soften. Good, and then kind of look around for another spot. And then after you've found all of your spots, just roll around again. And then I want you to just close your eyes once you get your, got another spot, sorry. Once you find all of your spots have been attentive or you've attended to them, go ahead and take the ball off the left foot, close your eyes, and then sense. Sense how the left leg is now even with the right leg. Maybe it feels lighter, heavier. Does it have that same release? Just allow the body to give you that feedback. This is, again, just as crucial as the exercises themselves. And then take a deep breath in and out. Pretty cool. All right, now we're going to go ahead and grab the tennis ball, and we're going to go to a wall. So I'd like you to take your ball into the right hand, and I'm going to get a little closer and turn sideways. Take your right hand and wrap it onto, take your left hand and wrap it on top of your right shoulder. So over the top of your right shoulder. And then I want you to look for that protruding bone that kind of sticks out there. It's pretty dominant. So Jess, you might need to go to a sliding glass door or something. And then I want you to go follow that bone. It goes, side of the scapula and then up to the neck, and then it kind of just disappears and falls off. So from that falling off point right there, I want you to go up 2 inches into the neck. So it's kind of right on the bridge of this webbing of your scapula. And that's where I want you to put the ball. right there in that ropey part of your neck. And then you're gonna lean into the ball on a wall and start a little closer than you think you should. Bend, so the ball sits in the back of my neck, bend the left knee and get heavier through the right leg. And then if you're like, okay, this isn't so bad, walk your feet further away so that you get even more weight. So to make it more intense, your feet go away from the wall diagonally. To make it less intense, you walk your feet closer. So find that activation and then just kind of feel your way here. Roll just tiny bit, feeling that ropey, tense trapezoid muscle that it's really also your levator scapula, right? It goes from your bone up there up into your neck. But your traps kind of, this is your reactive muscles of tensity, of stress. So this is going to be a really good one to kind of get in there. And then once you find a really good spot, just stay still and bring your arms down. Take a deep breath. And then I want you with your right hand to reach up and over towards the left. It's kind of a zigzag motion, and then bring it down. Look at the hand. So follow the hand with the head and down. And it's really slow, it's kind of lazy, your legs are heavy, and you're just bringing lots of pressure into that area. We're gonna go about 12 rounds. Rehydrating that really tight, almost like calcified, rigid area of the neck. And then if you start to feel it not as intense, right? Maybe you change it a little bit and hold the arm out to the right and just make little circles. And then maybe bring the right arm to the left shoulder, look at the left shoulder, and then bring the right arm down and look at the right hand. And do those a few times. And then I want you to kind of get curious about this spot and move just a tiny bit inward to the center or out towards the outside of the shoulder. And see if you find any nodules in there as you move horizontally, left and right, just real slow. And you might find a spot that you can stick with that's a little uncomfortable. I want you to lean into it, lean into your body. Bring your chin down towards your right shoulder blade or your right collarbone, and then just look to the left. And then bring it down to the right collarbone, and look to the left. And then look over to the right collarbone, take a deep inhale. Exhale. And then look over to the left, take a deep inhale. And exhale. Good, and then go ahead and lift up, remove the ball, and then find that same spot. You know, take a second, feel that. Go into Tadasana. Feel how that right arm feels in comparison to the left arm. You may feel a big, like a very tingly sensation or light sensation in that right arm. Just notice it. Okay, now we're gonna do the same thing with the left. So you take your right arm to your left shoulder, bring it around the back of the left shoulder, find that bony vertebrae here. And then when you fall off of it, as you go towards center, move it up about 2 inches into the levator scapula, right? So right into that ropey section of the neck. Put the ball there and just lean into the ball. Yeah. So I've seen people do this. I have done this on the floor instead, and it does work. So you could do this on the floor. But I find that with standing, now that I've done it this way, I can really intensify it and have more control of the ball here. I can really pin it into those pressure points. So again, now you're going to get light through the right leg, heavy through the left leg, make it stiff. Find your distance that you'd like yourself against the wall or away from the wall. And just take a few encouraging breaths for that muscle to soften, those tissues to soften. Behind the neck, why it is so tender is behind the neck is a cluster, as you remember from that photo, of the fascia, right? You have all these zigzag lines that happen there, and it's a nice cluster for the lymph nodes as well. Here we go now. The left hand is going to reach to the left, and then you're going to reach across to the right. And follow the hand with the head. So maybe you can even out your breath. And you may feel some feedback from that left neck muscle. Going across and over. And again, you can get a little further as you get more comfortable here. Good. Yes, Sophia's is putting her hair back. Yeah, this is why your hair gets stuck. Trust me, I've practiced with the hair down before. Good, and then go ahead maybe and bring that arm across, turn the doorknob left and right. You can bring the chin towards the left collarbone. And then bring the left hand over to the right shoulder, look at it. And then across again. And again, there's no wrong way to do this. Just kind of discover your body. So it's going to be the patterns that you hold your body and the sensitivity that you're going to feel as we bring these motions to the body. And then find a sweet spot. Let the left arm just soften. Take a few deep breaths. Be really easy and gentle. And then move that ball left and right, horizontally, across the little nubby areas there in the muscles. And just soften the eyes, soften the face expression. Let the lower body just be really, really inactive. You're just a gentle movement, letting the ball and the weight of your body do the work. And then if you find a tender spot, stay there. Good, and then go ahead and walk towards the ball. Lift yourself up, come to Tadasana. Close your eyes and just feel. These 4 points we've worked on, the body should already feel like a deep exhale has happened. Good, and then I'd like you to please come down to the mat. So bring your balls with you. Bring your blanket or have it close to you. And just keep everything close by so you don't have to go over reaching it. So I'd like you to come into tabletop before we go into this next one that's really going to help you if you have tight quads. So coming into tabletop, and then just walk your hands up your legs to standing on the knees. Close your eyes, bring your hands on your hips. And then press your hips forward and just feel anything through the front of your legs here, the quadriceps of your legs, that are pretty dominant in the body. And then go ahead and relax back to tabletop and grab one of your tennis balls. You may want your blanket, actually, for the outside of your left knee. So if you need that, please do that. Okay, so you're gonna come to tabletop, but I want the left knee out to the left, like 4 to 6 inches. So it's kind of like you're doing a wide frog here. And then place the tennis ball right above the right knee. And then you may actually stay on your hands to start. Let me start there so that some of you don't go too deep. So we're going into the rectus femur of the body, the muscles of the body, or the quadricep muscles. So arms here, or you can come all the way down to your elbows. So those are the 2 modifications. So once you get your knee down, the ball situated, you're just simply going to inhale the heel up towards the glute, keep the knee down, and release it. So heel up and down. Just finding any spot there in the quad right above the knee that might be tender. Just go up and down. So the heavier you let the body get weighted into this tight fascia area of the body, the more you're going to feel it. Just 2 more times, please. Good. Okay, then I'd like you to move the ball, move your body really down 2 inches. So now the ball is like, I don't know, 4 to 6 inches above the knee. And then again, inhale, lift the heel up, the knee stays on the floor for pressure, and it comes down. So really easy, really soft. Up and down. So the body, the muscles, the fascia, they act like sponges, and when they get too dry, they harden, just like a sponge. And as you nourish them and rehydrate them, they become again fluid, and the fluid can easily circulate where it needs to go for the body, where it needs attention. Now again, roll the ball 2 inches higher. So shift the body down, yep. Breaths in and out, and then move the heel. So think about rehydrating this fascia And the more hydrated it is, water, right, is the easiest way for things to flow so that the toxins can be removed and eliminated. Good. 2 more. And then we're going to go to the highest point right above the, right below the hip. So rolling down again. So you're below the bone of the right hip, but not into the groin quite yet. The groin is going to be another story. And then again, lift the heel up and down. So this might be a really sensitive place for you, right? Relax your head, get really heavy, and just lift the heel up and down. So there's a lot of attachment happening in this area of the leg of all the different muscles. A lot of them happen right in this cluster that we're moving in and out of. Good. Okay, and then you may even start to feel this in your lower back a little bit because of the psoas, it starts to get affected by this. Then I'd like you to lower into the groin. So be really careful here. The groin is going to be ultra sensitive. So the groin is going to be, diagonally down about right 2 inches diagonally down from the right hip. So you're going to get right in the groin, and remember this was a huge pocket, if you remember that photo. And here, again, just lift the right foot up and down. And we're going to add another motion here because we know it is a cluster of lymph. It's a cluster of where we can really help the body to heal. So you're taking control here of your body, of your health. Good, and then go ahead and keep the right foot down. Take a deep breath in. And then just simply move the ball like a 1/4 of an inch left and right. 1/4 of an inch left and right. Just roll the hips left and right. And you're going to find these little nodules that are super sensitive, ultra tight, and we're just trying to rehydrate and make tiny little circles, tiny diameter in circles. And then once you find a spot you can stick with, stay there. Extend the arms down, lower the body. Turn your cheek towards the right and display all of your weight right on top of that ball. Just let it go. Surrender to the ground. Let your shoulders be relaxed. And just imagine now that you could actually feel the drainage happening from this groin area. So for women in particular, this is a very sensitive spot because it has to do with our reproductive area. It has to do with our ovaries. So it tends to be a little bit more sensitive. Good. Take one more full breath in and out. And then walk your hands under your shoulders. Lift yourself up and come to tabletop. Just let all of that circulation happen again. You should feel something happening in that right leg. And then I'd like you to come up to standing on the knees. Hands to the hips. And then just feel. You may want to lean back a little bit and just feel the difference between your right groin and your left groin, your right quadricep and your left quadricep. Just feel if there's a change. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So move your blanket over to the right. The ball is going to go right above the left knee cap. And then the right knee going onto the blanket over here, out to the side, 4, 6, 12, 24 inches, depends how flexible you are. And you can start on your hands actually, so that you can monitor how deep you want to go. And then again, it's the left foot goes up and down. And you're going to notice it's really hard at first to keep the knee down because it's so tight. It's so dehydrated because it hasn't been given attention to recover. It's just a doer. It takes over everything. But it will massage out. It will soften. And then when it does, you can lower down to the elbows and continue on. Good. So loosening up all of this area, cleaning out your system, be in touch with your body and what is happening as you detect different things as you move. Good. And then go ahead and move that body slightly back so you go about 2 inches higher. And then continue on with the pumping of the left heel up and down. Just breathing here, noticing how the body, the slow movement teaches you to listen, to feel, and to not react as quickly, right? You're just breathing into it, learning to slow down so that you can take these different things in smaller bite-sized pieces and manage them. Good. And then going up another 2 inches and continuing to pump the left side of the body. And then maybe even starting to tie stories together in your body's life, your energetic body's life as well. Maybe does the left side of your body tend to get more injured or sensitive than the right, or vice versa? And start to see if you can identify those things in the body as you go through these different things. Draining out all the buildup now. And then going up again, another 2 inches. So again, we're getting closer to that groin area, that sensitive area, for women especially, as we get closer to the reproductive area. Continuing to inhale and exhale. So this lymphatic system, as you know, is throughout the whole body. And it's the blood plasma that pushes out into the circulatory system. So we're doing that for the body. And now finally going into that groin area, into that really icky spot. Yeah, so get heavy here. Be gentle, stay here for a breath without movement because it is pretty heavy. And then lift the foot up and down just a couple times until you feel ready for your body to just completely surrender down. And the right knee plays an active role as well. So how high you keep the right knee or how low can affect it. And then go ahead and lower down right onto that pocket of the left pelvic or the left groin area. Release your chin and turn your head to the left and just let the body get heavy, let the belly get soft. And then kind of go left and right, move the hips slightly left and right, discovering a place that might be really tight, really stuck. And then find a spot that's uber tight and just stay there and just quietly breathe, receiving the feedback through breath. In and out, manipulating how tight this area is holding here until you feel it's rehydrated and it's ready to move on physically and energetically. Feeling safe here as well, feeling safe and healing any scar tissue. Maybe if you're somebody, there could be some science behind this. If you're someone that has really painful periods, maybe by bringing the slight pressure here can help to ease that, the blood flow here. That's something worth looking into. I'm suspicious if it does tie in, so I'd like to find out more about that as well. Good, and then go ahead and press your hands into the mat to lift up your chest. Lift your hips up. Come to tabletop, move the ball for a moment. And then walk your hands onto your hips. Feel. And then lean back just a little bit, tiny baby camel pose. Just feel now that release and how the left and the right side of the femurs, the groin are equal here, and just lots of fluid, lots of movement happening within the body to help drain. Good. And then go ahead and come to your right hip. This is where if you have a foam roller, I need you to grab that. If you don't have a foam roller, you're going to get your blanket and put your 2 tennis balls in it towards the edge. Can you see that? I think so. And you would just roll it up. And the edge with the tennis balls is where I need you to work with. If you have a foam roller, you're going to use that, of course. So you're going to rock onto your, I'm going to use my foam roller since I have it, but you're going to rock onto your right hip and bring the right arm across to kind of support the body. And you're going to keep your left leg on top of your right leg, and you're going to have to lift up your hips here. So I'm going to ask you to lift up your hips and place the foam roller or the blanket with the tennis balls right above the right knee. And you're going to just hold yourself here, left hand on the floor, and just support your weight. Be right above the knee, so not on the knee joint. And you're going to use your right foot to just rock the hips forward and back. And you're going to find a really tight spot right above the right knee joint that is super tender. Be careful. Don't get too curious yet. Just stay in that vertical position here. Left leg over the right leg and hips held tight. And just tiny movement up and down with the right toes. Leaning forward and back with that heel. Okay, and then stop at a place that you can stay. It doesn't have to be the most uncomfortable spot. And just take a few deep breaths. And then I'd like you to roll the chest down a minuscule amount. So roll it forward and down. You're going to find another spot that's like, I don't know if I can do this. Then back up a little bit. That's okay. And then again, move that right heel forward and back. So this nodule you're feeling right now is where the IT band and the quadratus muscle meet. And they get very stuck and they no longer glide. So you're welcoming in that gliding action. It's a tiny movement over the tennis balls or the foam roller here to rehydrate and to welcome back in that hydration. Okay, and then that's enough, right? And then go ahead and relax and place your right hip right down on the mat. So the legs kind of shoot up and the foam roller is still in that same location. You're propping yourself up, okay? And we're just gonna simply kick the legs, the shin, up or forward and back. That's it, very easy. Kind of like little swimming legs here. And you're gonna just bring that last bit of attention to this spot. And if you remember, the back of the knees are another cluster of gatherings of the lymphatic fluid for the legs to keep them circulating. And you don't have to do this very long. And some people even think this is the most beneficial part of the release here. And then go ahead and spill the legs out. Okay, now I'll ask you to simply bring the foam roller forward or the blanket forward. I'm actually going to use the blanket for the second one for those of you who are using that. And I want you to just let the right leg be heavy and down and kick the left leg forward. So the top leg kicks forward. And I'm going to bring the tennis balls, for you it's going to be the foam roller if you have one of those, right to the inside of my left knee into the inner thigh here. And I'm going to rest my head on my hand. And I'm just going to rock my hips forward and back. So again, this is going to be a lot more intense if you have a foam roller, but at least you know the movement. Gliding the inner thigh, moving that leg forward and back. And if that's not enough, maybe you could even take the tennis ball on top of it and find that nodule on top of your blanket if you don't have a foam roller. And yeah, you'll find it pretty quickly if you do that, actually, if that wasn't enough. I'm actually going to hold the tennis ball there, so I want you guys to know that you can do this without a foam roller. And then you can roll the hip forward and back, be kind of lazy about it. And it's pretty sensitive right there. And then you can also kick that left foot toward the front and toward the back. Just giving yourself a really nice little release here, self-myofascial release. And then when you find a spot that's pretty darn screaming at you, see if you can just hold still until it whispers, until it becomes easy. So a lot of people never bring the recovery to these muscles around the knees, and then the knee goes into this fight or flight and knee surgeries and knee replacements and all this stuff. But if you can bring it attention throughout your, you know, your physical activity, maybe, just maybe, you can avoid some of those things. So just simply breathe in and out, deep diaphragmatic breath here. And release. Good. Okay, now we're gonna do that on the other side. So before you do that, I want you to just lay onto your back and just feel the legs. Feel how they are from that release, especially if you feel something happening in that inner left knee from that release. Just compare it as you lay here in Shavasana and take a few deep breaths. Close your eyes if that's okay. And just be grateful for the practice. Be grateful for what you can use, adding yet more things to your toolbox to heal the body and to aid into the removal of toxins. And then we're going to go ahead and do the other side now. So bend your knees and we're going to roll over to the other side. So you're going to come onto your left hip. So I'm going to do it the vice versa way this time. So I am going to use the foam roller on my hip. So again, you're bringing yourself to your left hip. Your left forearm is down. The foam roller is right underneath the left knee. So take your time, get situated. And then you're going to lift your hips up. So it's almost like you're in a forearm plank, but you're using your right hand as a brake to hold yourself. And then hold your hips vertical. We don't want yourself leaning too far forward quite yet, because this is another cluster of tightness. So then you're just going to, with the left foot on the ground, the left leg and left hip off the ground, just move your left heel or your left foot forward and back and just get into that 1 little inch radius of tightness. It's not a really big movement, just gliding. Perfect. Yep. You can just let your neck relax. It's a tiny movement right above that left knee joint, but not on the knee. Again, this is where those muscles gather. And then if they don't recover, begin to get that screaming sound, because the IT band is kind of intertwined with this quadratus femoris muscle. We want it to soften. Otherwise, the back of the legs never fully form because the quads become so dominant. And this is something that happens to everybody as we age. We become front body dominant because we don't pay the attention that we need to the body. Okay, and then go ahead and lean slightly forward and continue to rock up and down with that left foot, that tiny bit. So finding that spot that's kind of even more in need of attention. And just breathe. Just a few more spots. And then find that yucky, tight spot, pause, take a full breath in. And then lower the left hip down. Let the feet just pop up naturally. Good, and then just kick them out. Just finalize that gliding sensation, that release. Really getting through the IT band. And again, the tennis ball would be that same thing, just hold that tennis ball there. Good. Okay, and then bring that blanket or tennis ball forward. You're gonna keep your left leg down, kick the right leg forward, and bring that foam roller tennis ball on top of the blanket or even on top of a block. Right above that right knee. And it kind of works with either, and I'm just making tiny little movements there, finding that spot. I forgot to tell you, relax your head on your hand as you come into that really tender spot on the inner thigh, kind of diagonally above that knee. Again, we're getting to that cluster behind the knee of the lymph nodes. Not only is this the fascia that's holding the muscles to the bone with the tendons, it kind of goes right below the skin and then dives deeper into the muscles and then below the muscles, so it runs pretty deep. And then you can even kick that right leg forward and back. Just find any movement here that lets you discover spots of stress in that leg And then once you find a sensitive spot, let the leg get heavy, let the body get heavy. Close your eyes if that's okay, and just melt into the ball, the foam roller, the blanket, the block. Whatever prop you've been able to use to allow you to soften around these parts of the body. Good, and then go ahead and remove the ball, the blocks, off to the side. Come back to Shavasana. So laying down on your back, let your legs go straight, and let your arms come down by your sides. Take a few deep breaths in, and a few deep breaths out. Time. Okay. And then go ahead and bend your knees. Grab your 2 tennis balls, your blankets or your block. I'm going to use my block since I have it, and I'm going to put it on its high setting. So flat setting is first setting, middle setting is second, and then third is here. I want it on the middle setting. So whatever you have to bring that setting, and then you're going to bring the ball, your head's going to rest the back of your head, and I want the edge of the block or the blanket right at the base of your head. So kind of at the top of that levator scapula muscle that we did earlier in the class with the tennis balls. I want the edge of whatever you're using there. And then you're going to take the tennis balls and place them underneath the levator scapula, right above that bone we felt earlier with our hand. So let's say with the right hand, we reach to the left shoulder, find the top bridge of that bone, and place the ball right underneath the corner of that bone. So it's not that low quite yet. And then do the same thing with the left hand. Bring it there and then find that spot. So it's not quite as much sensation yet. So just rest there. Let the back of your head get heavy onto the block. And then just simply turn your head to the right and to the left. As you just breathe easy. Just gentle, gentle movement, slow and mindful. And then find somewhere to rest the head comfortably. And lift the arms up towards the sky. Reach the arms back towards the ground behind you, and then reaching forward. So back behind the head, and reaching forward. Just do that a few times. So right now, we're just kind of warming up the muscles of these areas in the spine behind the cervical so that we can come deeper. And then bring the hands down and just notice the left side versus the right side. And then I'd like you to lower the block to flat level, first level. Keep the balls where they are, adjust them if they moved a little bit. And now we're just going to breathe. So where we are right now is into the lungs. Again, if we're going to Chinese medicine. So the lungs are in the back of the body, are right where these tennis balls are. So if you were to put your hands right over your shoulders, the tennis balls would be popping out a little. And then again, inhale, lift the arms up to the sky, and then all the way behind you as you exhale. And just kind of let the arms go forward and back. Let the body become very heavy. Allow the breath to really fill up through the lungs. Feel the rib cage go wide as you breathe in. Bringing lots of fluidness, nourishing that upper back, that cervical spine. And then rest the arms down by your sides. And then open them up like a V. And then stay there and just feel what needs to be felt. And then hug the arms across the body, like giving yourself a hug and open. And kind of cross the arms one time, the right arm's on top, the next time the left arm's on top. And then pause you again with the arms down by your sides. And get heavy again into the ball. Okay, and then I'd like you to leave your arms down. Keep your feet flat. Press your feet to lift up your hips, just a tiny bit. Lift up your hips. Good. And then lift the arms up again and reach back. So the hips are off of the ground and your arms are going forward and back, getting a little deeper now into the fascia. It's actually a lot deeper. And just keep breathing. Let's do one more with the hips up. And then the hands come down and the hips come down, and take a deep breath. And then I'd like you to move the block back 2 inches. Roll the body to meet the block so the head can rest easy on the top of the block or the blanket. So the balls are 2 inches lower now, and they're kind of right in line with the middle bones of the scapula now. So if you were to imagine the heart in the front of the body, the balls would be even with the heart in the front of the body. And no coincidence here in Chinese medicine that this area of the back, right between those wings of the scapula, is the meridian for the heart. Meridians are different than fascia. They are not the same. So just take a deep breath here. And then again, we're going to open up the arms like a T. And then cross them over the chest. And just switching up the right arm and the left arm on top. And just really rehydrating, bringing awareness into the midline of the back. And then open the arms up like a T and leave them there. Or V if that's more comfortable. Walk the feet close to the hips. And then again, press into the feet, lift the hips, inhale. And lower the hips down, exhale. We're gonna do that 4 to 6 times. Just lift the glutes up just a tiny bit and lower. Up and down. Last one up, hold there, and just move the hips left and right. Just swing the hips left and right. Really getting into this area that's really congested in the back. And then settle the hips down to the ground. Move the block up 2 more inches. Lift the head up. Roll the body back. And now you're at about the bra strap, right? Okay, just settle here. So the bra strap, for some people, is the most sensitive area of the body. For others, is a little higher. It depends on how you're built. So just take a moment to just get the feedback from the body. Notice what's happening in the shoulders, in the chest. Breathe deeply in and out. So now we're in line with the spleen. The spleen helps to filter the blood. And then we're going to go ahead and bring the hips up and down again. So press into the feet, lift the hips up, a little higher this time, and then lower them down. And just move at your own pace, nice and slow, up and down. Try to stay soft through the navel. And then again, you're going to stay lifted with the hips and gently move the hips left and right. Just find this small movement horizontally with the hips, create a little bit more friction into this tight spot in the thoracic spine. And I want you to kind of find a tight spot, stay there, and then bring yourself back again to that image of the lymph nodes, knowing that there's another cluster of lymphatic fluid right here in the spine. And the lymphatic system runs up and down the spine. So think about that. The lymphatic system runs up and down the spine and has a big pocket right in this thoracic area. Lower down the hips. Open the arms wider like a T. Let the body get heavier. And think about the lymphatic fluid, right? The drainage that comes from the brain going down through the neck and into the spine, releasing toxins. You're bringing all of this awareness, having it flow. And if you recall the lymphatic fluid, that they just only recently realized that it does drain from the brain. and helps with the health of the brain, inflammation, Alzheimer's disease. There's a lot of good stuff that's happening along the spine here. Okay, and then I'd like you to go ahead and move the block 2 more inches behind you. Roll right into like the kidney areas where we're at now. So it's right above like the lumbar. And it's still, you know, the ball's still about 2 inches apart. And it almost feels like it wants to take your breath away, right? And I want you to just lay there and to get heavy. Yeah, and if you'd like to extend the legs out, that's okay. Yeah, that's totally fine. And then again, now we're gonna add a little bit more movement. Bring one knee in towards the chest slowly. And then bring it down. And then repeat that a few times on this side. So we may go 5 minutes past 11. I hope you guys are okay with that. We have 2 more places to hit. Yeah, and then do the other leg. So the kidneys purify the blood, eliminate waste in your body. And this is an interesting fact. The blood flow to the kidneys is higher than the blood flow to your liver, your brain, and even your heart. So this area is actually very important to purify the blood of your entire body. So you're really getting into these tiny little filters of the body to filter the blood, get rid of waste through urine. And then go ahead and keep your arms down now. Keep your knees bent and then lift up the hips, up and down. Just be gentle with this one, up and down. Yeah, just a couple times. And then go ahead and get heavy, keep the movement still. And now we're gonna go into the deepest part of the lumbar. So go ahead and get rid of the pillow under your head or the block, whatever you have. And you're gonna go right into the biggest curve of your spine. So kind of where your intestinal area is, your intestinal organs, right into the highest part of your spine. And your head's on the floor now. I knew I'd have to break this class up into 2. That's okay. And the arms are just by your side. So I want you to notice that your glutes are on the floor, right? Your hips are on the floor. Make sure they stay there, because they're going to want to lift up. I want you to stay into this pressure point at the lower back. So we just did that thoracic spine area as well, which we know is a cluster that the lymph nodes meet at. Another one is the lower back, same with the fascia. So if the body is really stressed out, they gather here and they scream at you, hey body, I need to relax, right? So we're listening here for anything that is giving back feedback. And then I want you to lift your arms up towards your knees and just keep them straight. That is the height I want you to bring your knees to. So keep the glute on the floor and just bring your knees to the hands. So you're not bringing the knees to your chest. They're at arm's length. And then just hold here. Deep breath in, deep breath out. And then you can gently rock left and right here. Stay kind of relaxed here through the shoulders. They're going to want to tense up because we're doers a lot of the time. We're givers and we want to give it our all. So less is more here. Fascia is always less is more, by the way. Good. And then go ahead and relax. Bring the arms down. Lift the legs up. And bend them. Lift the legs up and bend. Lift the legs up. Tone your lower belly. And then bring the feet back down. Okay, I want you to lift the hips up just a little bit now and rock the hips left and right. To see if there's any tight spot here. And then go ahead and keep the hips up and bring the balls right into the bullseye of your glute. This is going to be the last spot we have time for today. I don't want to eat up too much of your time that you've already given. So find the bullseye of the meat, right, of the glute, so not the bone. So you may have to find a couple areas to move around through. And then just get really heavy here. Just breathe. Let the palms of your hands be open. Just sink your weight into the balls here, these fascia balls. And then I'd like you to keep the right knee pointed straight up. Try not to move it. And let the left knee just gently fall to the left. And then lift it up. And then keep going left. So up and down with the left knee. Just really finding that deep muscle in the glute that likes to get tense, especially if you have a anterior pelvic tilt, which is where the butt kind of tilts back a little bit. And then go ahead and bring the left knee back up. Bring the left ankle on top of the right quadricep, right above the knee. And then lean to the left. And then come back through center. You may have to hold on to your balls here, your tennis balls, your fascia balls. And just go left and then center, left and center. This cross fiber rolling here. And then go ahead and bring the left foot back down to the ground. Keep the left knee pointed up and let the right knee fall to the right a few times. Just massaging out through the right. So this is just fascia we're moving here. Just fascia that we're focusing on. There's no, there's lymphatic system or fluid throughout the whole body, but there's no pockets in the glutes. This is more muscular and that fascia, that rubber bandy material. And then go ahead, keep the knee up, bring the right ankle on top of the left. Hold your ball, your tennis balls in place, and then drop the knee towards the right and lift it up just a few times. Gliding your hips over the tennis balls. A little traction here. Just nourishing the body through these emotional areas of the hips. You know this is true because the yoga tradition tells us we store emotions here in the body, because we hold intensity in our lower back, and we know that the whole body's connected and our hips are the strongest part of the body, so you'll figure that they also hold a lot of emotion. And then go ahead and still the movement out. Bring the right foot down. Take one more deep inhale here. And then extend the legs straight. Let everything just melt over those pockets where the balls are. Just take a couple breaths. And then go ahead and lift the right tush and move the ball, lift the left tush and move the ball. And hold yourself in Shavasana. Just notice how the body feels. Stay gently focused on the breath. Feel the big sigh of release through the whole body. Feeling not only physically released, but educated about the body, how it's connected through the tissues. Feeling the communication through the physical body, through the emotional body, through the health of your body, wanting to be engaged, draining lymph now back into the bloodstream, bringing it into circulation, and feeling very healthy now, feeling very revived and relaxed now. So just like a massage, I would encourage you to drink a lot of water today. The water is going to help to continue to move the lymph through the body and to release the toxins. So you may actually go to the restroom a little more than usual today, and that's a good thing. When you're ready, please bend your knees. And roll to one side. Feel the tranquility you've created in your body, the symmetry you've created in your body. Come to a full seated position, any position you'd like. And I'd like you to just become very aware, very still, very quiet, very at peace in this meditative posture. And then let's end the practice with those 12 mindful breaths that we started with. Noticing what has changed, the ease you feel in the body, the settling you feel in the body, the wholeness you feel in the body, the whole body working together now. The face is soft. The arms are easy. The legs are easy. The back is easy, and the mind is easy. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you feel rested. I hope you feel you've added some more to your toolbox in healing. Namaste.